Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the parliament, okay? And basically these are the topics that we have scheduled for the discussion under this particular series, like starting with the introduction, thereafter the organization of parliament, composition of the two houses, system of elections to the Lok Sabha, duration of two houses, membership of parliament, presiding officers of parliament, leaders in parliament, sessions of parliament, devices of parliamentary proceedings, legislative procedure in parliament, joint sitting of two houses, the budget in parliament, multifunction role of parliament, ineffectiveness of parliamentary control, position of Rajya Sabha, parliamentary privileges, and the sovereignty of parliament. Okay, so these are the topics that we have scheduled for the discussion. Out of this, basically we have done with the introduction part, organization of parliament, composition of the two houses, election system of elections to Lok Sabha, duration of the two houses, membership of parliament, presiding officers of parliament, leaders in parliament, sessions of parliament, devices of parliamentary proceeding, legislative procedure in parliament, and the joint sitting of the two houses. Okay, so these are the topics that we have covered. The topics on which we have been discussing is the budget in parliament, and the remaining topics are multifunction role of parliament, ineffectiveness of parliamentary control, the position of Rajya Sabha, parliamentary privileges, and the sovereignty of parliament. Okay, so this is the picture that we have created so far altogether. All right, so basically before starting this lecture, let us revise that what we had covered in the previous lecture. In the previous lecture, while discussing the joint sittings, we had a proposal of introducing what? Proposal of introducing new amendments. Okay, or you can say introducing no new amendments except two conditions. Right, proposal of introducing no new amendments except in two conditions. Now you are required to tell me these two conditions. Okay, for this you have 30 seconds to think an answer, then I will give you the answer and your time starts now. 10 seconds have been passed off, 20 are remaining. Last 10 seconds. All right, the time's up. So basically if we talk about it, so there are the two conditions. First is if the amendment if the amendment is cause of disagreement between the houses. Okay, if the amendment is the cause of disagreement between the houses, then the amendment could be introduced. Thereafter, if it become necessary to introduce the amendment due to delay in passing of the bill. Okay, so if any of these two conditions are there, then basically the amendment could be introduced while in the joint sitting. If the amendment is the cause of disagreement between the houses. Second, if it's become necessary to introduce the amendment due to the delay in passing of the bill. All right. Thereafter, we had discussed about the annual financial statement. Basically, we have took the overview, right, about annual financial statement. Now you are required to tell me which article deals with the AFS or the annual financial statement. For this, again, you have 30 seconds and your time starts now. Just think about it. 10 seconds have been passed off. Last 20 are remaining. Last 10 seconds are remaining. Time's up. So basically, Article 112 is the article that deals with the annual financial statement. Got it? That's the thing. Thereafter, we had discussed about the financial year. Okay. And we had discussed that basically it starts from 1st April to 31st March. Okay. And we had discussed the one thing that budget is not a constitutional word as it is nowhere used in the constitution. Okay, remember this, budget is not a constitutional word as it is nowhere used in the constitution. Okay, so these were the things that we had discussed in the previous lecture. Now start with the today's lecture. So we know the budget in actual known as the annual financial statement. Okay, and basically there is an article 112 of the constitution that deals with the budget. Okay, and here you can say the budget is a statement of the estimated receipts and the expenditure of the government of India in a financial year which begins on 1st April and ends on 31st March of the following year. Like here you can say the words are estimated receipts, also known as revenue, and then planned expenditure or spending. Okay, so basically these two main things, like what the government is going to spend in the economy and what the government is going to earn from this, that is in the crypt form known as the annual financial statement or budget. Okay, this is the thing. So if we take it in the more planned sense, then we could say first is the receipt. Like if we talk about the government revenue, okay, how the government earns. So basically the government earn from two main sources: taxation revenue Okay, like we know in India there are various type of tax like the GST, income tax, wealth tax, gift tax, excise duties, custom duties, and all. Okay, so whatsoever the taxation process is there, this earns for the government. After this, there is a non-taxation revenue. Like we know, government owns certain profit-making organizations. All right, even the government imposes fines, penalties on the violators of the rules. Thereafter, stamp duties and all during the judicial or the legal process you pay to the government. And if we take it further, then we know that the government usually makes highways and all. Okay, and there you have noticed that there are the toll taxes. Okay, which collects the money from you because you have traveled on that highway. So what do you think? To whom that money goes? That money goes to the government, or in short, known as the NHAI, National Highway Authority of India. Okay, so basically these are the two main sources of the government: taxation revenue and the non-taxation revenue from where the government earns. Okay, and thereafter the next is government expenditure. Okay, how much the government is going to spend. So basically the expenditure is from the two ways. First is from the reserves. Okay, it means that government owns funds and reserve in this country, like the constituted fund, like the contingency fund. Okay, and all. And second is from borrowings. It means government also borrows the money so that they could spend it. And the borrowings is basically in two broad factors: domestic borrowing and then the foreign borrowings. Okay, so there are two forms of borrowings. All right, so this entire thing basically comes under the one umbrella that is known as the annual financial statement or the budget. Got it? So this is what government shows, and basically this is for the definite time period, which is 1st April to 31st March. For example, if we take the example, then we could say that government is saying from 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. Okay, this is the financial year. During this tenure or during this definite time period, how much the government is going to spend on the various things and the how much the government has been estimated to earn from that investment. Okay, so that would be present in which? That would be present in budget 2024. Got it? That's the thing. In addition to the estimates of receipt and expenditure, the budget also contains the other elements. All right, and basically we can say the overall the budget contains the following. The first is estimates of revenue and capital receipts. What does it mean? Basically the how much the government is going to earn from the taxation or non-taxation, and how much the government is going to earn from the other things. Like I have told, the government owns the different public sector units, like in the petroleum, like in the natural gases, like in the aviations, and even you can see the railways and all right, so these were the part of capital receipts. After this, another way is ways and means to raise the revenue. Okay, it means that measures government will take to enhance the revenue. Okay. After this, estimates of expenditure. What does it mean? It means that planned spending, like how much the government is going to spend in the economy in the planned manner. Okay. Then details of the actual receipt and expenditure of the closing financial year and the reasons for any deficit or surplus in that year. So we can say, suppose if this is the budget session going on in the parliament, so as per the tenure, that would be from February 2024 to May 2024, because Feb to May is the tenure of the budget sessions in the parliament. Okay. And if this is to be the budget 2024, okay, so that is to be introduced before the beginning of 1st April 2024, because that would be the beginning of the financial year and the year would end at 31st March 2025. Okay. All right. So if you look at here, from February to May 2024, there is the date of 31st March 2024, right? There will be a date in between, and this date is basically the closing of the financial year of 1st April 2023 to 31st March 2024, right? Or we can say in short and crisp, that would be the closing area of budget 2023. Okay, got it? So whenever the government will present the new budget, it means the government is going to present the budget 2024. At the same time, the government is required to present the actual receipts and actual expenditure. Okay. So here we have seen certain words, like first we had seen the word planned expenditure. Thereafter, estimated revenue. And then we have seen the words actual expenditure and then actual receipts. Okay. So what is the difference between them? So let's understand them by understanding the meaning. First is planned expenditure. All right. So basically, the planned spending from the revenues, not revenue, sorry, from the reserves and borrowings during particular financial year. Okay. So the planned spending from the reserves and the borrowings during the particular financial year, that is the planned expenditure. Now let's talk about the actual expenditure. So it is the actual spending from the reserves and borrowings during particular financial year. Okay, so that is the difference. Like you can say, suppose if the government has said that basically we are going to spend rupees 25,000 crores, for example, okay, that was the planned expenditure. Okay, that is we are going to do this. But when the year closes, it comes out that the total expenditure the government has done is 30,000 crores. Okay, so this is the actual on ground picture. That was what promised in the budget. That is what happened on ground. Okay, similarly, if we talk about the estimated revenue, so it is the estimated or expected revenue to be earned by the government during the particular financial year. The estimated or expected revenue to be earned by the government during the particular financial year, that is the estimated revenue. If we talk about actual receipts, so basically it is the actual receipts of revenue earned by the government during the particular financial year. Okay, so that is the estimated revenue and the actual receipts. For example, let us take the example. If in the budget the government has promised that they will earn 40,000 crores, okay, that was the promised, okay, revenue. But when the year was over and when the receipts were counted, it was discovered that the government only earned the 35,000 crores. Okay, so this is the actual on ground picture, and that is what was promised in the budget. Okay, so this is the thing here. Then the other concept was the surplus and deficit. So remember, whenever the expenditure is less than the revenue, there will be a condition of surplus. Here, this would be reverse. Whenever the revenue is less than the expenditure, then the condition of deficit or loss will be there. For example, if the expenditure was rupees 35,000 crores, okay, then revenue was rupees 40,000 crores. What would be the surplus then? 40 minus 35, rupees 5,000 crores. Okay. Here, if we take the example, revenue was 35,000 crores, but the expenditure was rupees 40 crores. Here, what is going on? The expenditure is higher than the revenue. Then what would happen? There would be a deficit of rupees 5,000 crores. Got it? So here it is in the profit and here it is in the loss. Okay. So this thing also the government is required to present in the budget. Like what they had promised in the previous budget and what they had done on actual. Okay. And if there is any deficit or surplus during this time, so they are required to mention the reason. And the fifth is the economic and the financial policy of the coming year, that is like the taxation proposals, prospective revenue, spending program, and introduction of new schemes and projects. Okay, so these are the entire things that present in the budget. All right, so students, basically in this lecture we have covered till here. In the next lecture we would start from here. Till then, just revise the facts and figures that all we have discussed in this lecture. Be ready for the another lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture, and what we say thank you.